All right. Oh, there we go. Recording's in progress. So you see, you have to watch what you say or what might be overheard. No, thank you very much to all of you for joining. And I just want to recognize Ivan, who many of you know in this Hollywood Squares format. She's in the upper right-hand box for me. I don't know if that's where she is for all of you. But Ivan is coming to you live with her daughter from Ireland. And I happen to be somehow in Paris. Not expected. I know, Mike. I know. But I have to get up at 8 a.m. tomorrow to judge a wine competition. So, you know, please, I'm doing what I can. So we have a European contingent here, but as Rich pointed out, we have people from 12 states, and that is really, I mean, it's just heartwarming. It's phenomenal. It was also a little bit of a nightmare getting everybody the wine. So I hope everyone has the wines. And if you see someone on screen that has a different wine from the wine that you have, well, it's not easy to get wine, the exact same wine to every state, but the good news is everyone will have a wine from the same place, even if it's not the exact same wine. So it's just wine. So it's, you know, it's not a big deal. So this evening, the theme that we chose was, you know, climbing mountains together. St. Ignatius, as we all know, is a journey. It's a trek. It's trying to reach the summit. And so that was the theme that we picked up for the wines. We have a wine from Italy, a wine from Spain, and a wine from France. So we tried to cover some bases here. And we don't have a wine from Ireland. I'm sorry, Ivan, but I think there's a Guinness just off screen. You know, it's what time is it, Ivan? What time is it there? It's like 11:30.
It is 11:38
okay,
PM,
well,
which means it's 12:38 with you, right?
I'm tomorrow. I am tomorrow,
Yeah.
right now. Yes.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of European wines. So Ivan and I decided to go to Europe to enjoy them, you know, in situ almost. And what I would like to do is just talk a little bit about each one of the wines and the region that they're, the respective regions that they're from. But I just want to say we had such a good time last time because we got the conversation going. And as Rich indicated, I've been teaching on wine for a little while. So feel free to ask questions. The earlier you ask them, the better chance all of us will have in understanding each other. Because I find that questions asked later in the session tend to sometimes get a little bit muddled, but that's fine. Hopefully everyone is in a place that they don't have to leave later today. And if you do, someone take their car keys if you need to. We don't want anyone, you know, no mishaps. This is all supposed to be fun. So I'm going to share my screen quickly. And as I said before, I'm going to tell probably some bad jokes, but most importantly, if you have questions on wine, feel free to ask them. This is, it's all part of the educational experience. So let's see here. Oh my goodness. I don't want to ruin my surprise. Bear with me 1 second. I have to do a quick adjustment and we'll get there in just a second. And we teed up everything except for my part. So it's on me. Here we go. And I'm going to ask for a thumbs up from someone to let me know that you can see the screen. Yes, we're good. So this is it. St. Ignatius, Together We Climb. And before someone asks the question that I'm anticipating, which wine can we open? The answer is all of them. We are expecting you to try all of them. We want you in small doses, right? This is a tasting. All of the wines will be fine tomorrow. So if you open them all and put the cork back in and in the fridge, it'll be fine tomorrow. But we're tasting all of them. We want to enjoy this bounty of different wines that have been chosen. So the first wine that we're going to start with is our sparkling wine, because this is a celebration. We're celebrating all of us being here for this great cause. And so if you would like to go ahead and open the Valdobbiadene, I was instructed that that's the correct pronunciation, the Italian Prosecco, the one with the biggest cork. I think you know which one I'm talking about. Please go ahead and open that, and feel free to pour it into a large glass. I didn't say pour a large amount. I said just pour it into a large glass. Oftentimes we drink sparkling wine in these little glasses that are supposed to look pretty, but you can't enjoy the wine fully if you can't swirl it around a little bit and smell it. And it's perfectly okay to do that with a sparkling wine too. So Rich has clearly not followed instructions. He's poured a large amount into a small glass. That's okay. Small amount into a large glass. It's all right. It's a very pretty glass, Rich. And if everyone is almost ready, maybe we can have Rich lead us in a toast. He didn't expect that. I'm totally blindsiding him, and I got him while he's eating too.
Yeah, thank you, Philippe. Just want to thank everyone for being here this evening. Your support and generosity means the world to us. We exist because of all of you. Thank you to our board chair, Tom Devlin, to Evan, to Karen, Helene, Carlos, and Emily for working hard to put this together. I hope I didn't forget anyone. But here's to Philippe, and a great evening, and cheers to St. Ignatius. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. I have to speak this whole time, so I'm going to drink something. I've actually performed the miracle of turning wine into water. It's out of necessity. Believe me, I have to be up early. So thank you very much, Rich. The wine that you have in your glasses is interesting. I know that many of you probably enjoy Prosecco. We have it from time to time. You may be interested to know that we'll probably be having more of it going forward, because Champagne has had some tough vintages lately. And no joke, I'm an industry insider, and I can tell you in 2020, I think in the midst of this period of time that we're going through, rough patch, a lot of people were drinking straight alcohol. That is kind of the truth. And I see Mr. Colin Flynn clearly nodding his head. Yes, I know what you're talking about. And it seems that in 2021, people decided that maybe continuing to drink hard alcohol with a Peloton at home was not such a good idea. So they started moving back towards lighter stuff. And one of the things, surprisingly, for those of us who were in okay health, champagne became a big thing. And champagne, I don't know if many of you tried to buy champagne at the end of the year for celebrations, but a lot of it was not on the shelves. There's been, I wouldn't call this a crisis. This is a 1%er crisis, but champagne has disappeared from the shelves. So Prosecco, we need to enjoy Prosecco, and let's give. And I chose a Prosecco that is made at the highest quality level, which is to say the traditional method of champagne. Oh boy, doesn't that sound exciting? Well, the reason that it is interesting is because it has very fine bubbles, and it is of just a higher quality level because each bottle is made as an individual wine, versus Prosecco in general, which can be made in a big batch process. So the wine that you have in your glass was actually re-fermented in that bottle, and that makes for little bubbles, and little bubbles makes for a smoother texture. And we like it smooth. I mean, things have been rough, so we need to find the smooth these days. So there you have it. And if you want a little bit of background on this area, we're talking about the theme of, oh, hold on. I have to make sure that I can see all of you while I'm showing my screen. Here we go. There we go. Back to the big picture. Look at this place. Once you decide to leave the apartment, this could be a good place to go. This is the Valdobbiadene section of our area here in northern Italy, and we've got hills, maybe not quite mountains, but we have some nice hills. And this is where these grapes that are in your glass, or the wine made from them, this is where they come from. So a beautiful place to go hiking, beautiful place to go and drink bubbly wine and eat great cheeses and maybe prosciutto or other things like that. I just want, because I know she's somewhere, I can't see her, but I just want to thank Helene for staying after me to recommend some cheeses. Hopefully she recommended them all to you. Otherwise, she owes me something, because boy, she did not. She was relentless in getting me to name the right cheeses for the wines. But the good news is, if you're saying, honey, did you get that email? I didn't see that email. Sparkling wine goes great with everything. It goes great with the person sitting next to you. It goes great with pretty much any food. You don't need the exact cheese, Elaine, although if you have, some good Parmigiano Reggiano, that's fantastic. But the truth is, sparkling wine is the beer of people with a little more, well, I don't want to take anything away from the beer people, but sparkling wine is beer made with grapes. So we know we can drink beer with anything, and sparkling wine can be drunk with pretty much anything too. And it just makes life a little bit lighter and smoother. So I hope everyone has this wine in their glass and you're enjoying it. And the beauty of it is, it's a lot less expensive than champagne. So I always have a case of something like this sitting in the house in case, well, it hasn't been the case in the last 2 years, but in case friends just pop over, it's good to have some sparkling wine. And I don't know if I told this little story the last time we were drinking some sparkling wine together, but I'm in France, so I'm going to recognize one of my French cousins, Romain, who visited me in the United States when I was in graduate school. He climbed the 6 floors to our apartment. Of course, we were in a walk up, up in Harlem near Columbia. He opened the refrigerator and he said, "What? You do not have any champagne in your refrigerator?" He said, "My friend, my cousin, my family, if you do not have champagne in your refrigerator at all times, you are either married or dead. So just have sparkling wine. It's even more important than, well, it's as important as that fire extinguisher in the garage that probably is past its due date." So, it's always good to have a little bit of sparkling wine lying down so that, the wine is properly stored. How is the sparkling wine? Are you enjoying it? Yes. If someone wants to jump in and say it's the most wonderful sparkling wine they've ever had, they can do that right now.
Delicioso.
Delicioso. Thank you. Grazie. And even better if you're drinking it in a place like this, but with the same people that you're with right now. So put that on your schedule. And if Yvonne can arrange the trip for the benefit of the school, I'm sure we can do something with that.
Wow, so advanced. Sounds like a plan, Philippe.
Sounds like a plan.
I
Go climb some mountains.
Exactly.
Points I follow, she points I follow.
Wonderful. Oh, there are small children. I'm going to have to CID. Oh, I can see. In the Angela Jeffrey house, we have participation at all levels of the family. That's wonderful. Fantastico. So sparkling wine, one other thing to say.
Yeah.
It actually goes through your bloodstream a little bit faster. I'm just warning you now. You know, the bubbles, they carry good things to all corners of the body. So go slowly on the sparkling wine because we still have a few other things to talk about, but hopefully it has wet your palate whistle and you have a little bit of food to enjoy it with. Okay, we're off to the races. Judith Malone, do you have a glass of sparkling wine? Are you, no?
I'm saving it for some friends.
You're saving it for some friends?
Yes.
Are we not your friends? We
No,
can-
I had friends coming over. We had an ice. They can't
It's
get
fine.
to my driveway.
This is a free country. You should do whatever you please. That's absolutely fine. I'm just doing a little check to make sure everyone's okay. That's all. And your red sweater just jumped out at me. So
It's Heart Month.
oh, it's Heart Month.
Mhm.
Okay. See, I am so clueless. I just thought it was the end of dry January. That's what I thought. Which, by the way, since my birthday is in January, I have no idea what those two words are doing in the same sentence. Zero idea. But I will say one thing, because it's being recorded, please all drink responsibly.
So what part of Italy is this?
So
is
we
the
are in,
vineyard in?
yes, we are in northern Italy. We are in northern Italy. Typically Prosecco is up there by the Veneto. The wine that I suggested, let me just double check because I knew someone was going to ask me this question. The Valdobbiadene, I'm going to tell you exactly where we are, what region, bear with me. Google, help me now. Allow. The closest place that you would know of to Valdobbiadene would be, no, I wouldn't know that place. Well, when you're Treviso, I'm so glad that people are waving to each other. Treviso, Conegliano, it's a hop, skip, and a jump from Venice.
I know where I want to be.
There you go. If you want to go to the place we showed you on the screen before, you're just gonna have to go through Venice. I'm so sorry. Go now before it floods again and maybe forever. So beautiful part of the country. It was clearly not in, it's not in the dry south. You saw from the how green the area is. And we can just say one more little thing about sparkling wine. It's typically grown in places where it's a little bit cool because we're making wine from grapes that aren't necessarily completely ripe. And that's okay because in order to get the bubbles, they add sugar and yeast to re-ferment the wine. And sometimes they even put a little bit of sweet wine in when they are about to put the cork in the wine. So sparkling wine is made mostly in cooler regions. And close to, for those of you who are in New York, probably some of the best wines on Long Island are actually sparkling wines. They not everyone sells them. Some people make them and keep them for themselves, but sort of that maritime climate or higher elevation climates. And like beer, sparkling wine is made all over the place, all over France, all over Italy, Germany, Spain, you name it, Tasmania in Australia, New Zealand. Sparkling wine is made, our friends at the people who have Hennessy cognac, and also make handbags, Louis Vuitton, what Hennessy, they have a large sparkling wine operation in Western China, of all places, and in Argentina. So you can make sparkling wine kind of like beer pretty much anywhere. Although you have to make it from grapes. That was a much longer answer than near Venice. I'm sorry. I hope that was interesting. But a lot of people have decided years ago that they were going to make world-class red wine on Long Island, only to find that all they could do was make world-class sparkling wine. And if anyone here saw Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes about a month ago, talk about how global warming is changing the map for wine, one of the things that she finished with was sparkling wine being made in Southern England. I don't know if anyone saw that episode of 60 Minutes, but well worth watching, very interesting. Things are moving north. As things warm up, we're starting to see areas that didn't really produce wine, producing very nice wines. So another reason to go back to England. Ireland might be next. I don't know. I don't know if they want to replace, the fields of grain that are providing all kinds of lovely beverages, but the English apparently need, they've got another coronation coming up, hopefully not too soon, so they're going to need a lot of sparkling wine. I have no idea what all of those titles are for the royalty, but that's a subject for another day. Maybe Ivan can give a seminar on that one day. Although it's England, so maybe not. Okay, so the next wine that we're having, and again, feel free to jump in with more questions. I promise I won't use Google again. The next wine that we're having is a wine from Spain. So it's going to be easy to know which one it is because it's the white wine. Although we had a little mishap. I don't know if any of you got white Bordeaux, but there was a little bit of a mishap for some deliveries. I hope that you got to keep that one and get more wine. Maybe Helene will jump in and remind me that I didn't do enough. I'm not sure. Good. Oh yeah, there you go. That is the one. So the Flynn House has the right Twister label wine, Paco y Lola. Not everyone has that bottle. Okay, if you don't have that bottle, don't worry. You have 3 bottles of wine. So we're looking for the next. We're looking for the white wine, and I'm going to show you the region that it's from. And I should be watching the chat because maybe some people are shy and they're just asking questions on the chat. We are loving it. Says, wait, the Jesuits of Spellman are here? That's fantastic. And they're loving the sparkling wine. I love it. We have 199549. Thank you for being so upfront with your name, saying to everyone, I love it. Are you a member of the Elon Musk family? That name doesn't seem like a normal St. Ignatius family name. I'm not sure what that is. But we all have to protect we have to protect everything with all these hackers out there. So let me just show you the next region and let's dream about travel again. And here we go. We are in España. And that's Italia, green, green, green. And here we are in Galicia, in Spain. So we are in northwestern Spain, and I'm picking on Ivan because, in order to get to this point, it takes a lot of emails and phone calls from Ivan. So now I'm coming right back at her. This area, Galicia, is known in some parts as the Ireland of Spain. It's in the northwestern corner of Spain, and it's green. Not all of Spain is green. A lot of the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. They made that up. The plain in Spain does not see a lot of rain. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So we are in northwestern Spain, and it is a bit wet and it's a bit green. And so the wine that we have is a white wine. And as you open it, some of you might feel a little tickle of sparkle in this white wine, maybe just a little bit. Do you agree, Judith? I saw Judith checking.
Yeah.
This wine she doesn't want to share. She's drinking it by herself. I love that. With a big glass, following instructions. Thank you. So We are in Rias Baixas, and I would love to tell you that it's a Chardonnay or a Sauvignon Blanc, but it is no such thing. This is a wine made with Spanish grape varieties. The main grape variety is called Albarino, and Albarino is a very fragrant wine. So I would just say, take a moment, pause, smell the wine, see what it reminds you of. It should have aromas of maybe citrus, something a little bit floral, freshness. It's really supposed to be kind of a bracing, fresh wine. Some people might call it a picnic wine, something on a hot day, which is not today, on a hot day would give you a feeling of slaking your thirst, feeling nice and fresh, lively, good acidity, mouth watering. And I think we picked a Spanish cheese for Helene on this one. That's my guess. I'm pretty sure I said a good goat cheese. So if you followed instructions and have a good chalky goat cheese, I think that pairing will be very, very nice. And if all you have is tuna salad, I'm sure it's working great with that too. So the grape varieties, just for the education piece, their names we're not familiar with. Albarino, I mentioned earlier. There are other grape varieties like Trechadura and Loureiro. These are grape varieties that we find in northern Portugal and in northwestern Spain. And interesting story on Albarino, it's its own grape variety, but it resembles Riesling to a little degree. I don't know if anyone agrees, if there are any Riesling fans, but you get sort of that fresh citrus and apple character. And here's a little tie-in. The reason that some people thought that it might be Riesling is because they thought that maybe people coming from Germany to do the pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela, right? Walking the route to Santiago de Compostela, maybe they brought vines from Germany. And that's a lovely lyrical story, but it turns out, no, this is a local grape variety called Albarino. A little bit of history with a little bit of, the tie-in on pilgrimages, but most importantly, what do we think? Do we wish it was 90 degrees outside and sunny? I know I do. Does it feel like it would be really nice for that type of weather? I hope so, but we're living in the moment more and more. So tell me, are you enjoying this wine? And if someone is enjoying it in particular with something that they are eating, please feel free to share, because we're always curious to hear about good wine and food pairings. And if you didn't even hear what I said, I'll say this: what are you eating? Please eat something. We have to make sure that this is a balanced, not too dangerous tasting. You should have something on your stomach as you're drinking these wines. We want you to be comfortable.
Just order some.
There's a lot going on in the chat, Philippe.
There's a lot. Someone mentioned sushi. And by the way, I think that is a fantastic pairing with this type of wine. I mean,
Turn me off.
if we have a wine that has like this freshness and we don't like wasabi or ginger, then we can just have this in between the different pieces of sushi, right? And even if we like wasabi and ginger, this is a lovely, the thing that I try and do is I try and order things like this when we go to the sushi restaurant, because once my wife gets going on hot sake, I know that I have to drive home and that I'm going to hear about the headache later. It's like, don't drink so much of that hot sake. And by the way, if you check the alcohol on this wine, it's fairly low, because the grapes don't get that ripe up in the northwestern section of Spain, where it's not that sunny yet, and it does rain quite a bit. So we don't have a lot of alcohol, which means you have, on paper, an excuse to enjoy some more. Mild goat cheese, it's an excellent pairing. Thank you, Lindsay, and everyone with you. Milano Market chicken parm grinders. Okay, that's thinking outside of the box, yet somehow remaining in the same box. I'm not sure. Pairing it with cabra al gofil. Is that goat? I mean, cabra is goat, right? I'm not sure what gofil is. Al gofil, si is the answer. I thought it was eating goat on the golf course, but it's too cold for that. Is there a relationship between the grapes of Riesling and Albarino? Yes, in the simpatico sense of they resemble each other, but apparently they are not related in a ampelographical way, which means the origin of the grape, supposedly not, but it feels like they are. Pizza. That's what I get as the favorite food pairing when I teach at Yale. Brie and cheddar. Okay, so we've got a bunch of cheeses happening right now, and that's wonderful. Chicken parm grinder, and that's someone here is from Massachusetts or New England. Grinder is a New England term, is it not? I think so. Someone actually ordered sushi. That's good. That's called thinking on your feet or thinking on your sofa, because you're getting the food home that you need to drink more of this wine. Okay. So we've got a plethora of things that we're having it with. And honestly, a nice salad would work well. That would, a salad with a simple dressing with maybe some, what did we have the other day? We had those little canned clementine oranges that are so sweet. That could be spinach artichoke crescent ring. All right, we're getting fancy. Someone is rolling it out for the guests. And the response from Bannon is mine. Yum. Spinach artichoke crescent ring. If we could get a visual on that before it disappears, that would be fantastic. That sounds like, did you make it yourself is my question. Did you make it yourself or was that store-bought? It's okay if it was store-bought. Life is complicated these days.
Hey, Philippe, this is Tom Devlin here from Connecticut. Thank you for doing this.
Tom, I recognize you.
How are you? I wanted to ask a quick question. As we're drinking these, how did you choose? I mean, obviously there was probably a price point, etc. How did you choose these for tonight? The idea of going through Europe is incredible. It's great. But how did you choose these and this one, the white that we're drinking now?
One of the things that motivates me when doing tastings like these is to maybe take things in a direction that most people are not that familiar with. We're doing something for an educational institution. So I like the idea of finding things that we can talk about that we might learn from. We all know Prosecco, but did you know that Valdobbiadene is the best part of Prosecco? Maybe not. Albarino is great that some of us are familiar with, but have you heard of this region of Ria Spicius before, which, by the way, has a bit of Gaelic history there too. And, I do that to please Ivan. So, I'm always looking for things that will take us in some new directions. And I'll be honest with you, Tom, we made the theme mountains. These are really wines from the hills. I might finish with a slide from The Sound of Music. No, don't worry. I'm not finishing with a slide from The Sound of Music. But also, I like trying to find wines that we can enjoy without having to worry about the price point. And these are reasonably priced wines. Prosecco in general is a lot less expensive than Champagne. Wines from Ria Spicius are not groaning on the shelves of our wine stores here in the US because it's typically either Albarino, a grape that most people are not familiar with. It's not Chardonnay, it's not Sauvignon Blanc. So maybe not as demanded as those other wines. And so it provides really good value. And then, of course, we're going to finish with Bordeaux, which is my favorite style of wine and has nothing to do with mountains, but it's a mountain of a wine. So I hope I kind of answer your question. I think it's always fun, just as we did last time with the island wines, you know, going in, trying to bring new things to light. We could have done, you know, to make your dad happy, we could have done all red Burgundy, but yeah, red Burgundy, we've all had that before, or some form of it. So that's a little bit of adventure. I think that's probably the short answer to the question.
Thanks, Philippe.
Of course. I noticed that Bennett is eating happily. I'm not sure what is being served at the house. If I was reading the chat more carefully.
Just pretzels.
Just pretzels.
On a student's budget.
See, the wine can even go with just pretzels. Well, Bennett, you tell me, is the wine going okay with the pretzels?
Perfectly.
Perfectly. And that wasn't even planned. It's just fortuitous. So again, I'll continue answering your question, Tom. Wines that go well with food, that's another thing that I like to highlight, because truth be told, 1 + 1 should equal more than the sum of the parts, and great wines that go with great food, that's a more rounded experience. So if you don't have food right now, your mouth is probably watering, because these 2 first wines have a bit of acidity. So I'm pushing you to eat. Very quick sidebar. If you like Italian wines, you have to eat, because Italian wines in general, except for the sweet ones, typically have a good amount of acidity. And I like to joke that Italian wines play the role of La Nonna saying mangia, 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 when she's in the kitchen making you more food, because those wines have so much acidity. So our first 2 wines definitely in that camp. And again, it's the pleasure of pairing the wine with the food. Let's see, we had some Humboldt fog to eat with it, but we'd have to, out of the snowbank in order to do the pairing. What happened? Someone left their wine in the snowbank? Kaija, DeWitt?
Yeah, my husband tried to chill it in the lawn, and he shoved it into a stone instead of the snow and exploded it outside. So, but we have 2. We have 2 wines.
Wait, a wine has exploded on your lawn?
Yeah. We'll go out tomorrow and see what we can do.
Okay. Hopefully it's not near the driveway, because then that could be a whole cascading series of events, and we want to make sure that you can make it to wherever you need to go tomorrow. I have exploded things in the refrigerator, not on the lawn. It is not uncommon for me to throw a bottle last minute into the freezer in case I need to, get it ready. And then usually when I throw 2 in thinking we're going to have another one, I forget the second one. But this raises a point. Do not put your lawn in jeopardy by freezing wine outdoors on the lawn. I never thought I would say that in a public forum, but there it is. Thank you for sharing. What I will tell you on a practical note, and we maybe should have said this in the prelim, all wines are a little bit better when you can really taste the fruit. And in order to do that, it's okay to chill down your wine, even if it's red, because a little bit of a sort of cellar temperature, meaning what's cellar temperature? Well, it depends, but let's say around 50, 52 to 55 degrees is nice, even for red wines. If it's too cold for you, chances are your place is probably heated to 70 degrees or thereabouts. It'll warm up, but you can't take it in the other direction. So oftentimes my students say, well, how do I know what temperature to serve it at? It's a question of taste. But personally, I put my wines, all of them, in the fridge for 20 minutes before opening them. And I find that that works for me. My wife is so used to it that when we go out to restaurants, she'll order a glass of red wine, which they will just pull off the back of the bar, to buy the glass wine, and it'll be room temperature. And she is not scared of asking for a glass of ice cubes, even if it's good wine, which it always is, because she wants to taste the fruit. My students don't seem to really listen to me when I say that you really taste the alcohol more when it's at room temperature. This seems to be a positive thing for them. But for those of us who are trying to appreciate the flavors of the wine, serving it a little bit cool is nice. Pairs well with chicken on a biscuit. So this is, I sense that there's KFC in the house, perhaps at the Daniel Brady house. My homage to Omermick, and I might have to Google because I'm not sure who Omermick is, but I hope that doesn't put me in strange company. Amazing with spiced pecans. See, sometimes all you need to do is open a can. We don't have to get fancy, just have some food. All right, by the way, Humboldt Fog from California, one of my favorite cheeses. So I'm sorry that you're eating it without the wine that exploded on the lawn. My wife does put ice cubes in red wine. Yes, Elizabeth, it's okay for you to do so as well. This is America. And as far as I'm concerned, we're still the land of the free. And you should be able to do whatever you want to do as long as your liberty does not impinge on the liberty of others. I studied political science in school. And I'm watching it on the television, not understanding what's going on, but we're not going to go there. 199549. Did you want to say something?
Why, do you hear me talking?
I hear you talking. Okay, now I don't hear you talking.
Okay, so I pressed.
I'm perfectly
mute.
happy.
Now
Did
can
you
you
have
hear
a-
me?
Yes.
Okay. No, I wasn't saying anything, but I thought it was funny when you said, I don't know why there's a number there, not my name. I don't know.
The Uber drivers always look at me and say diagnostics, and I'm like, yes, I know. That's for some reason my cell phone has that as the name. I don't know why. I am Mr. Diagnostics. Yes. May I? Yeah. Can I get in the car? Okay. Who
But
knows?
I guess I want to say so far so good. I like everything.
You know what? Favorite comment of the evening so far after the exploding wine on the lawn comment.
You know,
Because now-
it's all different, but it's very good. And I'm a Chardonnay drinker, so.
And see, this is the reason, Tom, that we do these, because the price of Chardonnay is too high because everyone is trying to drink the same wine. We need to have alternatives.
Mhm.
And by the way, what we haven't done this evening is we haven't even touched Portuguese wine. You want to talk about the best values out there in the market with names of grapes that no one can pronounce, blended into blends that no one can understand, delicious wines for small money. So there you go. Another category to explore, Portuguese wine.
I'm writing everything down.
We're recording it too. So if you
Okay.
find that you cannot read your writing, I think Ivan can send the transcript.
Okay.
I'm going to mispronounce the name, but Belkise Darlam is saying that's true.
Yes, it is true. I love Portuguese wines.
You love Portuguese wines.
I do. They're not expensive at all, but they're so good.
Isn't that true?
Yes.
I was very fortunate, very briefly, I was very fortunate a number of years ago to be invited to the National Portuguese Wine Competition. It was a week-long trip, and I sat down to taste, I don't know, like 100 wines a day, 3 days in a row. And my teeth were horrible after that. But the thing that I walked away from that tasting thinking was, oh my gosh, these wines are so great and we don't know about them, and they're so reasonably priced. And the Portuguese Trade Commission said to me, what can we do to make Portuguese wines sort of more better known in the United States? And I said, all you have to do is open bottles and pour them for people and show them the price, because they're so reasonable. So anyway, a whole nother category to go and explore. And typically the stuff that makes it to the United States is good, because there's a lot of Portuguese wine, and people who actually take the time and trouble to import it, they've got a huge selection to pick from. So generally speaking, it's pretty darn good. Any thoughts on Lambrusco? Yes. Yes, it used to be awful. Riunite on ice was not so nice. It was sweet, it was cloying, but there's a whole category of winemakers in Italy making these sparkling red wines, the Lambruschi. I'm trying to get the beer drinkers to sort of listen. What did he just say? He said Bruschi. Lambruscos can be outstanding. Sparkling red wine. Don't go for the $9.99 Lambrusco, but ask the person in the wine store, hey, do you have like a pretty good Lambrusco? Think of a fruity red wine with some bubbles and a little bit of sort of body, fantastic with richer cheeses, wonderful with cow's milk cheese, wonderful with, I mean, one of my favorite things with Lambrusco is just spaghetti and meatballs, to be perfectly honest. A category that fell deeply, deeply out of fashion when people realized that it was just full of sugar. And now there are people making very nice Lambruscos. Yes, the next event will be Portuguese wines, if Ivan, Rich, and all the people who rope me into these wonderful tastings agree. So we have one more wine, and some of you are probably drinking it already, thinking, enough of these white wines, I want my red wine. So the last wine is going to be from Bordeaux. Elena Neal, it's amazing how you guys come in and out of the sky. If you could share your ability to fly, how you do that, that would be amazing, because I'm just watching you come in and out of the sky. It's just amazing. And you're not even flapping your arms. It's amazing. So, and by the way, I'm only drinking water. So everything that I'm saying, you can understand why my wife is like, sure, lock yourself in a room and talk to nice people for an hour and a half. It'll be a nice break for me. We have some Bordeaux. So as I said, if anyone here is thinking that's not from a mountain, this Bordeaux's flat. Bordeaux's like Florida. It's symbolically a mountain because it's one of the great wine regions of the world. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. And I'm willing to risk getting stuck in France in case my test turns out positive when I go to the pharmacy in 10 days. It's okay. I think I might even pay them to give me a positive reading. Bordeaux, a monumental mountain of wine. This is our red wine. And I know it's not a discovery, Tom, but you and your dad, I'm sure, drink plenty of Bordeaux, but it's just so wonderful. And I'm going down there next week, so I want to tell them that I'm talking about their wines all the time. So thank you for indulging me. We have a few different Bordeauxs that went out because, again, 12 states to coordinate. Some of you have a Bordeaux from the appellation of Montagne Saint-Emilion, and Montagne does mean mountain. It's really kind of a hill. It's an area of hills. But this red wine is from the classic area of Bordeaux and is going to be a combination of grapes. In this part of the world, we do not have what we would call varietal wines. Oops. We have blended wines. It's France. They like to cook. And so they will take different grapes and blend them together. And typically the wines that we should all have are going to be a little bit heavier on Merlot. Merlot is a grape that got kind of trashed by a movie that maybe some of you saw called Sideways, where it was all about Pinot Noir. And our friend Miles had all kinds of words that I cannot say on a call for, you know, a good religious school. And I wouldn't say them anyway. So Rich, don't worry, I wouldn't say them anyway. But that movie was all about Pinot Noir, and they trashed Merlot. And the truth is, there are great wines made from Merlot, especially when there's a little bit of Cabernet in there too. And you just have to get them from the right place. What is the right place? Well, Bordeaux is one of them. And the OG, as they say, the original. The other place is Tuscany. You can get very good Merlots from Tuscany too. But if you want to go to the source, it's in Bordeaux. Again, if anyone here is nervous about drinking 100% Merlot, having seen this movie, don't worry. There's some Cabernet in there too. The whole idea is to make something, again, that's greater than the sum of the parts. The wine should have a nice sort of supple texture, some nice red fruit character. And then the Cabernet is put in there to give it maybe a little bit more mouth-watering character, a little bit more acidity. The wine might feel a little bit dry if you're drinking this red wine by itself, especially after these two white wines. Have some more food. This is a wine. You do not drink wine in France without food, typically, unless there's an issue. But yeah, most people drink red wine, white wine, sparkling wine. Well, sparkling wine, you need canapes, which could be food. The Bordeaux is the most, I would say, classic of the wine regions in France in terms of its international renown, because it's a port. And so it's one of the oldest categories of wine that spread throughout Europe, throughout the world. And someone is loving the tannin. I'm just going to explain what that means. That's not the person sitting next to them on the couch. That is, although there might be that feeling there too, tannin is that feeling of a bit of dryness in your mouth. You can only make red wine by keeping the juice in contact with the skin. All wine, I think there's one grape variety that has a dark pulp, but even Cabernet Sauvignon, the king of red grapes, and Merlot, the queen, they have clear juice. And the only way you can make it red is by leaving the juice in contact with the skins. The color bleeds out of the skins, and you also get something called tannin, which is kind of that dryness. If you've ever eaten a grape, like popped a grape and eaten the flesh of the grape first and then chewed on the grape skin, that skin is a little bit bitter, especially with table grapes. They pick that stuff underripe to make sure it lasts longer on store shelves. But you're going to get a little bit of that dryness. This is why it's important to have with food, or you can put it into a decanter, or as I tell my students, what's a decanter? It's like a beer pitcher, only nicer. Pour it into something to get some air in the wine. And as the wine opens up, it starts losing a little bit of the edge of that dryness. It softens up a little bit as air slowly oxidizes the wine in a good way, just taking a little bit of the edge off of that dryness. But the best thing to do is just to put a steak on the grill, or if you don't eat that sort of thing, grill some vegetables, or something that's got a little bit of either char or a little bit of fat. The protein will absorb and make the wine feel softer. So it does sound delicious, doesn't it? Nick DeCatia. I love the chat. It provides me with so much to hang on to. Anyone having something more than Triscuits with their or pretzels with their red wine? Sorry, Bennett, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that in any bad way. Is anyone having a full-fledged dinner? Could you show us what you're eating? You don't have to. Oh my gosh, look at that. We are in the kitchen on the live cam at Angela Jeffrey's place. Angela is still working hard to keep up with the wine. Wait a minute, is that a smoothie in that glass? Did you put the red wine in the Vitamix? I don't know what's going on there. Or is it
Pizza
just,
making.
What is it?
Pizza making.
It's
Pizza dough.
pizza making. I thought you said it was bacon, and I thought liquefied bacon as a drink could have a huge, huge level of success if someone could do it right. I think that's part of these fancy Bloody Marys that I see with like hamburgers on sticks in them and stuff. You know? Have you seen those crazy pictures of Bloody Marys that people put on Instagram? I'm sure there's a hashtag. So the red wine is, oh, okay, this is great. At the Fagan's house, we've got the, instead of the TV, they've replaced the TV with the laptop. They're watching this while having dinner at the dinner table. I love that. You do seem a little bit far away, but as long as the screen is big for you, that's fine. It's so weird when my students post pictures of my face on a 64-inch television. It just scares me. It doesn't happen that often, don't worry. And I immediately delete them. I'm not that type of person that I would look at those for very long. So how's the red wine? Finally, some good red wine. Chocolate covered strawberries and Gruyere. Right? I mean, chocolate covered strawberries these days, that's not enough. We need to up the ante. The red wine is fantastic. Of course, I chose it. And aged cheddar and crackers, that's probably Bennett. He probably just got his Uber Eats delivery. Fancy. Aged cheddar is a great cheese. Bordeaux goes very well with aged cheeses. Cheeses that have a little bit of saltiness go very, very well. Beer cheddar, I don't know what that is, but it sounds like a marriage similar to chocolate and peanut butter. Brie and sesame crackers, okay. Okay. Boy, you guys went all out. Post wine cheddar. I don't know what post wine is. I haven't reached that stage of my life, and I hope I never do.
Port wine.
Oh, port wine. Port wine. See, port wine and cheddar. Okay, I'm sorry.
Philippe, it seems like you've gotten there without your glasses.
You know, well, only after someone said something, but otherwise it's starting to get a little bit fuzzy. I got these things maybe 6 weeks ago. I've eaten my carrots my entire life, but that's it. I think it's over. I think it's over. By the way, this is, I don't own any stock in this company, but I don't know if you can see my phone, probably not, but it has a little case for little reading glasses right on the back of the case. And of course I left them in the United States. So now I'm just walking around with these things. But that thing is fantastic. Thin optics. For those of you who, like me, need a little bit of magnification. So that is our one red wine. I'm leaving you wanting more, I'm sure, which will lead us to a Portuguese and Portuguese. It helped me remember another tasting with Portuguese wine. But I want to make sure that everyone is happy, feeling okay. Romagnola pizza, arugula, parmigiana, and prosciutto. Arugula, one of the best things to finish a pizza with. Gives that little edge, calms down the richness of the cheese. People are just flooding us with cheese here. Brie, Vermont goat, Comté, and Bib salad, and pasta fagioli. Why is it that in America we drop the last vowel on so many Italian dishes? I don't understand that. Is Red Bordeaux always the same blend of grape varieties? No. There are 5 main grape varieties in Bordeaux. Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and I'll tell you about the other ones, but basically Cabernet Sauvignon is on the left bank, closer to the coast. Merlot is on the right bank, a little further inland. And then they have other grape varieties that they bring in. Those would be the 2 Oscar-winning red grapes. And then we've got Cabernet Franc, which is the father of Cabernet Sauvignon. We have Malbec. If anyone here is from Argentina, I'm sorry, you do a great job with it, but it's originally from France. Elena, are you from Argentina? Is that what you're saying? So the Argentines do a much better job with Malbec than the French do. But in all fairness, the French don't have a hole in the ozone over Mendoza, over Bordeaux. So, you know, the whole UV thing is definitely playing in the favor of Argentina. But as things warm up, Malbec is becoming more and more important again in Bordeaux. Originally from Bordeaux, made better by Argentina, just like soccer. And then you have Carmenere, which is making its way back to Bordeaux from Chile. Again, hole in the ozone. You know, there's always a silver lining until there isn't. Carmenere is doing better in Bordeaux. Let's see. So Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Malbec, Cabernet Franc, Carmenere, and then there's another little grape called Petit Verdot, which actually is the big boy. That's what they call in winemaking squid's ink. It has a very, very saturated color, very saturated purple, and they can never get it ripe, but they're starting to get it ripe again in Bordeaux. So they basically have, I said 5, but it's really 6 grape varieties. And you know what's kind of strange? They've just approved a bunch of Portuguese grape varieties from the Douro Valley as experimental grape varieties in Bordeaux because they're planning ahead of time. You know, a good vineyard takes 10 to 20 years to come online producing really good grapes. And they're worried about global warming. I don't mean to bring a downer to this conversation. It's fine. It's going to create more diversity in grape growing. Yeah, those are the main grape varieties of Bordeaux. And the really interesting thing is from year to year, they'll change the blend. Because it's not like California where the weather is great all the time. Sometimes in Bordeaux, the weather is, I'm not going to use any bad words, but not good. So they will use a different blend because different grapes, Merlot ripens early, Cabernet ripens late. Merlot can be damaged by rain, but Cabernet, thick skins. So the theme here is the French know how to cook, and year to year, they will make the adjustments necessary to make the best wine that they can. How much does that type of barrel the grapes are aged in matter? Barrels do matter. The main reason for barrels originally was they were good for transportation. The English, who were the big drinkers of Bordeaux, would ship the wine back to England and bottle it themselves because they had the coal-powered plants to make the best glass. And so it was typical to just ship the wine in cask to England and then they would bottle it themselves. So transportation, one reason, but for our purposes, what does it matter to the flavor of the wine? Well, some people use new barrels and it adds some flavor components. You can get little notes of spice, wood spice, a little bit of toast because they have to heat the wood over a flame in order to be able to bend it into those staves. And sometimes the sugars in the wood, there's sugar in the wood, caramelizes. So sometimes you'll get a little bit of a caramel note. Other people don't want any of that stuff. So they'll age their wine in old barrels. So the wine can sit there and slowly age with no flavor additions. And those are just natural flavor transfers. Another reason barrels are used is to soften the wine because sitting in barrel, a little bit of air gets in. And especially with these wines like these Bordeaux that can have tannin, it can help just finish the wine a bit, soften it a little bit. So the problem with barrels is they cost a lot of money, 800 to 900 euros for a brand new barrel. Now, granted, that's for 300 bottles of wine typically, but fewer people use new barrels than a lot of folks who use old barrels. Where am I? I am just off Place de la République in Paris right now. This was not planned. I wasn't planning on doing a class from 12:30 a.m. to 1:30 or 2 a.m., but I had to go to work. I know, don't cry for me, Argentina. I had to go to France for work. And do you think I was going to get Ivan to change the date? No way, no way. So I just said, I would rather get no sleep than raise the ire of the lady in Ireland, especially after she told me that she would be tuning in from Ireland. So I had no excuse. It's like, I can be as tough as you, 1 hour later than you though.
Well,
Philippe,
thank
there's,
you,
there's,
Philippe.
Philippe, there's also another question about barrels right above that.
Okay, is Bordeaux, okay, wait, Elena and Bannon, how much does that type of barrel, the grapes are Asian, matter? Wait, is there another one above that? Or is that?
Sorry, I missed that. I think that was it. I missed that. So you were already talking about it. You'd already answered it. All right, good.
Yeah, so typically if you have wines like the last wine that we're having, which has, you know, some real stuffing to it, they will put that in barrel to try, and as I said, polish it before they put it into bottle. And typically wines like this one will be in barrel for 12 to 24 months. It's really a function of how good the vintage was. If it was a really good vintage and the wine is pretty concentrated, they'll leave it in barrel longer. If it's a lighter vintage, then they will bottle it a little bit earlier. A lot comes into play. And the barrel is another spice in the winemaker's rack of different things that they can do to achieve the wine that they are trying to make. And again, the best winemakers adjust year in, year out, according to what nature has given them. So how is it so bright? The lighting here is not that bright, or you mean the wine? How is the wine so bright? Is that the question? Oh, I think you're talking about here, because they have lighting in the courtyard. It's bright outside because there's lighting in the courtyard at the Crown Plaza, Place de la République. If anyone wants to send me a drink, the bar is closed, so it doesn't matter. I'm just at the Crown Plaza. Is it true that some California Chardonnay makers are known to add oak chips to the wine for the oaky flavor? Yes, this is true. Some of them even add liquid smoke. I have no idea how liquid smoke is made, but it's interesting. There's a perception that if there's an oaky flavor, then the wine must be good. I would say it is, if that's what you like. Added sugar is not something that I look for. Added liquid smoke is not something that I look for. Some people do like the flavor that reminds them of that back left section of the Home Depot where they cut the wood. My mother-in-law used to like that. But you know, yes, people do sometimes add oak chips. It's an inexpensive way of giving wine a bit of oak flavor, but it's not generally considered a fine wine tool. But again, it's making wine is like cooking. So there are lots of different things that you can do. I'm surprised by these technical questions. I think it just shows the level of, are French wines more regulated than American wines? Oh, yes, they are. Yes, yes, yes. In the various places around France, they have rules about which grapes you're allowed to use. If you want to call it a wine from the Rhone or from, you know, a particular place in the Loire, they have rules about what grapes you can use, what your yields can be, how long the aging needs to be, what the alcohol, minimum alcohol level needs to be. there are many rules. You know, there's a whole French organization that polices the wineries. It's a great job. You get to taste a lot of wine. But yes, there are a lot of rules. And in America, we're the land of the free, as I said, and there really aren't many rules. There are rules about if you want to label a wine Cabernet Sauvignon or Pinot Noir or Syrah or Chardonnay or whatever, there has to be a certain percentage of that grape in the bottle. But generally speaking, there aren't a whole lot of rules in winemaking in the US. We can do just about whatever we want to do as long as we keep the beverage safe. What is my favorite wine is a question I do get quite often. And I always answer it with another question, which is, anyone have a guess? Am I eating pretzels? Sorry, I'm trying to get Bennett to laugh while he's drinking. What am I eating? What am I eating? Tell me what I'm eating and I'll tell you what my favorite wine is. There is no single wine, but I've been asked the question, if I'm eating steak, how is the steak prepared? You know, is it just a lightly grilled steak, or does it have a big rich sauce, or medium rare? Okay, so that's the temperature. I often have 2 bottles open because I like to compare. That's my theoretical excuse. I just like having 2 bottles open. It's good to keep tasting and trying different things as long as you're doing it in moderation. What are your thoughts on organic wines? I was dared to ask what your favorite Dutch wine is. It's called Heineken. What are your thoughts on organic wines? The less chemicals in my food and drink, the better, I think. I don't know, but I'm guessing that's true. Although, who knows? Maybe if there were hair growing properties, I would accept them. My thoughts on organic wines, yeah, I think we are moving in that direction. I was actually having that conversation at dinner with a whole bunch of French wine producers, and one of them from the Rhone Valley in France, saying that just about everybody who makes proper wine now and is making money making proper wine, because there are a lot of people who struggle to make money making wine, they're moving to be as clean in their agriculture as possible. Hallelujah. I think that is what we all should be trying to do, is consider what we're putting in our bodies and think about the environment. Okay, ooh, pasta with a truffle cream sauce. Helene, we have echo.
I think what she wanted to say, Philippe, was that we know you have to get to bed soon.
Oh, that's true. My mom used to say that to me all the time. I do have to, but I want to say one thing. If everyone has had a really good time, I just want to say that not too long ago, I had a really good time with the Devlins. We did up in Connecticut a tasting that live. People actually interacting in person, and had so much fun with it. It was the result of a little auction that we did on our last call. And I don't know, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm very happy to do another one of these tastings to help the school if there's any interest. Happy to keep supporting. So if anyone here would like me to come to their place and talk about wine in person and answer all the questions that I haven't been able to get to, I'm very happy to do that. So I don't know, Rich, Ivan, is that something that we would like to do?
Someone has just bid already, Philippe, in the chat. So obviously there's interest in it.
O'Neill, Colleen M.
We have a $500 bid.
So make it 1,000.
That sounds like a lot of money for the school. I think that's great. Can we do better?
Come on, make it.
We should probably clarify that you will travel 1 hour from where you live in Connecticut, correct?
No, I was even more generous than that. I said I would travel 1 hour from New York City so that people,
Got it.
so I don't have to reveal my home address.
Got it. We have Kathy Hughes wondering if she can go to Paris for it.
Kathy Hughes, we can go to Paris. Either I'm here and you come to Paris, or somehow you get me here with you. And I don't mean a kayak. Oh my goodness. Okay, Mary, FR ... $1,000. Wait, who's also here in Connecticut? Elena, you're in Connecticut? You should be bidding. I don't like driving home after these tastings.
Unmuted.
Wait, who's in Norwalk? Wait a minute, Yvonne, I am not traveling to Ireland. I'm sorry.
You
No.
are. You're only an
My
hour
wife's
away
name
by
is
plane.
Erin. My
Hey,
wife's name is Erin. I need to
Philippe.
travel. Yes.
Philippe, we're the highest bidder so far on Long Island. We'll put you in an Uber back and forth, all right?
That sounds great.
All
As
right.
long as the man doesn't call me diagnostics.
Well, I can't help
Um,
that, but I don't know if
Okay,
you can,
what's
I
the
don't know if you
highest
can bring
bidder?
wine across the border.
I can bring wine across the border. I have the boots to do it.
Okay.
Can I convince you to come to Denver? Sonia and Luis, I travel through Denver quite regularly because my father-in-law lives up in Steamboat Springs. So I say, jump in. Let's, oh my gosh, wait, Bill jumped in ahead of you. We're at 2,500 for the tasting of wines with a bald man who needs reading glasses. This is
And I'm
amazing.
actually closer and I'm going to 3,000.
Whoa, Helene, I just had my shoulder set back in the socket after all the arm twisting. I will come to you as long as you promise not to hurt me again. I called it the cheese operation.
This is gonna be, this is nothing.
Helene, can
Get
you
back
put
to your
it where
brother.
people can see it on the chat? 3,000?
Wanna see.
Okay, yes.
That's amazing. Wait a minute, I have another slide for you. I have another slide. I just want to remind everybody what we're doing here. Please stay with me for 1 second. I'm going to pull on your heartstrings. Here we go.
He looks young. How old is he?
Here we go.
68.
I am not 68. I am 57. This is what we're doing this for. And I couldn't think of a better reason to stay up. Well, I can think of one other reason to stay up so late in Paris, but I have to get back to the chat. So out on Long Island, my favorite place where I used to own a house all the way out on the North Fork.
Sending it to you. Go on your phone.
1,500
He's
plus
sending you a
acre.
message.
I'm going to make sure we avoid, what do they call that pricing when they make it 300% surge? We'll work it out so I don't go home during a surge. I promise.
Philippe, what part of the North Fork?
We used to have a house all the way out in Orient.
Ah,
Well, we have
so,
a
yeah.
place in Laurel if you want to do the wine tasting in Laurel.
I will do the tasting in Laurel. You just need to be the highest bidder. No, I'll do the tasting in Laurel.
Okay.
we're,
They are.
4,000. That's fair. Okay,
we're up to
4,000.
4,000.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Oh,
Laurel is at
Jeffrey.
4,000.
Come on, guys.
Oh, he said 4,000.
a little sibling rivalry here.
Uh-oh.
There's sibling rivalry.
Hey,
Why
It
don't-
looks
I
like we
mean-
got something going on.
hey,
Get the
Donna, how
family
much,
together?
Donna-
Families should not fight in public. You can get the family.
Donna, how much
together
have you
and-
had to drink tonight?
Free wines, but
Are you asking me the question? I'm only 2/3 of my way through my bottle of water.
No, his sister.
Is she actually gonna tell us how much she's had to drink?
She's trying to
Stop
get
the
off,
recording, Yvonne. Stop the
She's-
recording.
she's
We
trying to
want
get off
honesty.
the floor right now.
Can you tilt your camera down so that we can see that? And maybe someone can offer a suggestion on how to position the elbow. So where are we, Yvonne? Are you, or Rich, are you keeping track?
So Donna, the last voice I heard was yours, Donna, at 4,000. Is that correct?
That's pretty good.
So
That's-
Donna, how about $5,000 and we split it?
Wait, I have it better. How
Okay.
about 5,000 and we do it twice?
Oh, see, I knew. see,
Okay,
all of a
John.
sudden my
Okay,
arm has
John.
fallen out of its socket again.
All right, Donna, you're on.
Okay, we're on. Great idea, Helene.
Would you do 5,000 for 3?
Oh, now, wait a minute. Now we have to do 6,000 for 3. All right, what about 50 feet? My husband is saying, okay,
We've got
5,500 for 3.
I need Tom Devlin as my driver.
Oh, we're providing driving.
Paul Homer can be your driver.
I don't drive on nights like this.
I'll drive you, Philippe. I'll drive you wherever you want to go.
Ben, so we're gonna do 3 tastings?
Well,
I
I'm
just-
not sure you wanted to do 3.
Philippe, that's a lot.
Yes.
We'll
For you.
figure it out.
You'll figure it
I
out.
promise you, I'll figure it out.
I'll back
I know what
out.
that means, Helene. I know what that means. You're gonna figure out how to get me to 3 tastings. That's what that means.
No, we could,
Maybe
uh,
Donna and John, Mary Fran and John can combine.
well, Mary
Yes.
Fran and Donna are one. Mary Fran and Donna are one. We're okay with the 6,500.
Okay.
Helene, where do you live?
We live in Rybrook.
Okay. So you got a big house?
No, I
All right.
downsized.
All right, we have a big house if you want to come down by us and we can do the 2 rather than the 3. But you
Well,
still
I
have to
think-
put in 6,500. Anyhow, I'll keep it simple. So Donna and I will do 6,500 by ourselves or whatever.
Incredible, well beyond expectations. I'm not worthy, but you are, and I'm very, very happy.
Well, the
to
school
commit-
is. The school is
and
very worthy.
Listen, for the school, I'm super happy to do that. Thank you so much for that.
Thank
For your
you.
generosity.
you,
That is
Philippe.
Thank you.
wonderful. Rich
And
is so happy. He just threw back the last of his red wine. He's like, this is amazing. This is amazing. He did it behind his daughter so she couldn't see her dad. It's okay. Dad did well tonight.
He's
Well,
talking.
thank you. Thank you, all of you, for helping out. I hope you enjoyed the wines. I just want to say once again, Yvonne, it's such a pleasure coordinating these with you. Helene, thank you for keeping me on task, especially on cheese task. The Kathy Hughes house, you're off mute, and I know that you're whispering sweet nothings, which I think is great, but I don't know if you want everyone to hear that. Keep doing it. It's great. And Tom,
Philippe.
someone's
Yeah,
pulling
Philippe.
your hair, Tom. I just want.
I know. Philippe, thank you so much for doing this. What a wonderful night. For those that don't know me, my name is Tom Devlin. I'm the board chair of St. Ignatius School. Been involved in different capacities in the school for 20 years, and I just love it. And it's so great to see so many new friends, so many old friends here on Zoom. Our little gem of a school, which is in Hunts Point, is named after the founder of the Jesuits, named St. Ignatius of Loyola. Ignatius would have been right at home, I think, tonight as we toured Europe with you. After all, he was born in Spain. He was educated in France, and then the Jesuits' first school was founded in Messina, Italy. Philippe, after 2 years, where many of us haven't traveled, as we may have in the past, it was a treat to be transported to Europe tonight with you. So thank you very much.
My pleasure.
I'd also like to make a special thank you to Rich, who's our head of school. He's there with his wife and 2 children. I don't know where he is on your screen, Brady Bunch style, but he's in there. Thank you to you and your team, Rich, who worked so hard to make our school, St. Ignatius, such a strong program. Tonight would not have been possible without all of you. So thank you to all of our friends, new and old, who joined the event from all over the United States and also from Ireland and France. And lastly, a very special friend of our school tonight is tuning in from Ireland, and it's her birthday. So I wanted to wish that person, who shall not be named, a very happy birthday and cheers. It's a couple days from now, but basically it's tonight. So congratulations, so cheers and happy birthday.
Did we
And
all
to anyone else
birthday?
celebrating
Happy
special
birthday?
events or birthdays or
Good night.
Valentine's Day, happy
Thank
birthday, happy Valentine's Day, happy anniversary. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Happy
birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And thank you, Philippe, for making this such a fun evening for us all, and for your unbelievable generosity in donating your time, donating all those wine tastings. You're a true man for others. Thank you. Thank you.
I could not think of a better way to spend my evening than with all of you for the benefit of this lovely, lovely school, which just should inspire us every day on the possibilities that we can create for these children. It's just wonderful. So thank you again for giving me the opportunity to join all of you. And I really do appreciate it.
No, thank you. Get to bed and enjoy your judging tomorrow.
I already told my fellow judges that I would be cribbing off their notes.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody. Stay safe and hope to see you in Portugal next time.
Sounds good.
Thank you again.
Your
And to our-
books.
Good night,
and to our
everybody.
visitors,
Cheers.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.